You're listening to Smart Moves with your hosts, Ann Riley Caldwell and Matt Wilson.
Hey, welcome back to Smart Moves. I'm Ann Riley Caldwell, and this is part 2 of our series on the questions every buyer should be asking their lender. Matt and I have a lot more to cover, so let's jump right in. We're all trying to stay calm over here. All right, question, it may be number 5 now. I lost track because I went out of order. Will you tell me the truth if I should wait?
Yes, provided that you'll listen to the truth about me telling you the truth that you should wait. Um, the thing is like there are plenty of situations where, okay, you're an adult. You can do whatever you want. It's provided you qualify for it. And I tell everybody that. Like, I'm not here to tell you what you should do. I'm here to tell you what you can do. And I'll also, if somebody asks, like, would it be better to wait? And it would be better to wait, then yes. Now, here's a few rules of thumb that, you know what? This is going to be the least edited episode ever of me just fumbling all over words, isn't it? Um, a couple of rules of thumb to think through whenever you're wondering if you should wait are this. First off, my big concern for people a lot of the times is, do you have any money left over at all after we close this thing? Like, there's plenty of transactions that I've done. You can technically do it where you couldn't swipe the card and make it through a Taco Bell drive-through at the end of the transaction without getting declined. You can. Doesn't necessarily mean you should. So that would be one spot where I would be absolutely cognizant of what's going on, you know? Likewise,
I would call
you need to make,
I would call those post-closing issues, by the way.
for sure. Yeah, because who cares if you've got the nice new house if you can't even afford ramen noodles to eat in your lawn chair that you could afford for a couch because you couldn't buy a couch yet. Um, Another example of that would be there are situations where there may be credit things going on that I know that if you just do what you need to do over the next 30 or 45 days or whatever, it's going to be a way easier road for you than it otherwise would be. Um, in those situations, yeah, I'll tell you, hey, could you technically do this right now? Yes. Is it going to suck for all of us? Probably. But if you want it to be easier, like maybe we wait this out another 30 days or so. Um, I would also recommend too, like if you don't have $2,000 saved up, period, even if you're trying to go down to where I can't go through Chick-fil-A's drive-through after I close, you need $2,000 at very least because you're going to need earnest money to secure the contract. You're going to have to pay for an appraisal and you're going to have a home inspection. Well, you don't have to have a home inspection, but we all recommend it in these circles. Um, so if you don't have $2,000, even if you're doing 0% down and the seller's paying all of your closing costs, which look at another podcast that we recorded to talk about some of that, um, you need to, you're not going to be able to get it done because you don't have the funds there. And we've done deals in the past where, yeah, we're waiting on somebody's paycheck to hit so they can pay for their darn appraisal. That's always a fun one. I mean, I don't know how they're eating that week, but we paid for the appraisal. Um, so yeah, I mean, there's going to be situations where it's a good idea to hold up. The bigger problem I see in that a lot of the times is people don't want to. This is America. We do things fast. We don't have patience here. So with that being the case, people just jump into it, and then from there, it's up to me and Ann Riley to figure it out from there and hope it works.
Yeah, I mean, we're here again to give you as best advice as we can, to give you the pros and cons. I mean, clients ask me all the time, what would you do if you were me? Or what do you think I should do? If you ask me, I'm going to tell you. So don't ask me if you don't want to know. But at the same time, I always caveat pretty much everything that I will tell you. You will get tired of hearing me say, but it's not my mortgage payment or it's not my house to sell. I don't have to live with this. So I'm just going to tell you and explain to you why I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you, but I'm here to help you do whatever it is that you technically can do. So I just had clients the other day say to me, thank you for letting us figure out the hard way and go the long road, that you were right in the first place when you told us that a month ago, but we had to learn it the hard way. I'm like, that's what I'm here for. Like, I know when I'm
What a,
right, and if I'm truly right, I'm going to say, I really, really believe I'm right. If I'm not totally sure that I'm right, then I'm also going to say, hey, I'm not totally sure I'm right about this, but here's why I'm telling you what I'm telling you. And here's what I think you should do if you really want to make XYZ happen. But at the end of the day, Matt and I are on the same page when it comes to, hey, you do what you want to do, and we'll try to make it work. But we can't work miracles all the time. So just be aware that, the decision is your decision, and it should be your decision. I can't make it for you. He can't make it for you. But at the same time, how hard you want to listen and what you want to do is ultimately up to you. So anyway, we mean that sincerely. I mean, we really want to see everybody be successful, not just buy a house or sell a house, but honestly, enjoy it, make the right decisions, be in the right place at the right time. So yeah, if we see reasons, even on the real estate side, if I think you should wait, I'll tell you I think you should wait. I help people run through those scenarios, even after Matt explains finances to them, and then also even just non-financially. I mean, there's things going on in people's lives that it may not be the best time for them to do something. And then part B to that question, that wasn't going to be a part B, but another valid question is, will you tell me the truth if I should go faster? And actually the answer is yes, because there may be something going on in the market. There may be, and I get a lot of people that are getting closer and closer to retirement, and they can afford the mortgage after retirement, but they might not be able to qualify for the mortgage after retirement. So, there's things going on in people's lives that actually speeding it up might be better, and it may not be something that they're thinking about, because people get time frames in their head based upon certain scenarios, and sometimes those time frames are very valid, and sometimes again you're not necessarily working with all of the information.
yeah, absolutely. There's times from a mortgage standpoint where speeding up can make sense too. Now, I've had situations where we know that, for example, something's about to change financially for the family, or we know that um, there's going to be a flip in the market potentially just based on seasonality or based on um, whatever weird news has come out that week. And I'm like, hey, we should probably go ahead and do this thing if we're going to do it, because you don't want to be here 6 months from now wondering why we didn't do it, or a year from now, or for some people, 6 years from now. I've seen that too. There's people in 2020 that were really convinced the market was going to crash and that everything was just going to crap. And, how did that work out for them? I bet their rent's more expensive too.
Yeah, for sure. Also the timing of selling your home. Like, I tell people they should wait. Sometimes I just did that last year. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, it only takes one person to buy it. So if you really want to try to get it sold, I don't tell you, obviously, no, you can't put it on the market, but there are things that I see. There's seasonality things that I know. From working with the builder, I know a lot more than a lot of agents know, because we have different types of products, from townhomes to single family homes to this thing to that thing. So I know what's moving, what's not moving, what people are looking for a lot of times. And sometimes I say, yeah, we can put it on the market, but I honestly don't think this is going to sell till like 7 months from now. And here's why. And I'm usually right. Again, one person could come along and buy it and it might actually sell faster. But, if you're asking me what I see and what I think, again, that's what you're going to get. All right. Question number 6. Do you know how to spot problems early? And if so, how do you communicate those, if at all?
Yeah, for the most part, but there's always going to be stuff that happens. Like, you can't predict the future. Um, I wish I could, but if I could do that, I probably wouldn't do mortgages for a living. It'd be a better party trick. Um, so as far as communication goes, typically, to the best of my ability, like if I see that there's something that's a red flag out there, I'm going to go ahead and just say, hey, this is potentially a problem. Um, at the same time, I'll also let you know how much of a risk it actually is. For example, the real risk of a bad appraisal is $600. I mean, that's what it costs you for the appraisal. If the home doesn't appraise, or it's an appraisal that doesn't have enough comparable information to be valid, okay, you're out $600. but you're also out a house that was probably going to be very hard for you to sell if you needed to anyway. So I just frame it up that way for somebody like, hey, do you like it enough to roll the dice on 600? If you do, go for it. If you don't, probably not the house for you. That's just one example. And ultimately, in those situations, my personal philosophy on it is I'll let the appraiser make that call because I don't know what's actually out there. And sometimes I'm shocked. I just had one that came in. It did come in a little low, but I was shocked it came in with anything considering it was 600 square feet with 7 acres. I didn't realize that there was going to be other homes that fit that criteria closely enough to make it matter, but turns out there were. So I did give a heads up on that one and was like, hey guys, and the agents kind of already knew it. They knew it was not a typical home on a typical amount of land. So like, yeah, we know it's a thing. And I was like, all right, cool. As long as we're on the same page, let's try it and see what happens. But there's going to be things that just fall out of the sky that nobody can predict happening that you just got to take as it comes. So all that to say, yeah, to the best of my ability, I'm going to forewarn people, but don't expect that I'm going to be able to prevent literally everything possible from happening.
Yeah, I mean, anytime that there is something that comes up that's somewhat obvious or on the lending side an underwriter sees or, on a whatever side, on the real estate side that I see, I think Matt and I both do a great job of communication, of staying in touch with people. I mean, if there's something that we can fix, quote, behind the scenes and not stress everybody out, then we will. And there's actually sometimes quite a bit of that going on, and my buyers and sellers don't even know it happened because I was able to skirt it or calm down the agent on the other side or, do something, communicate with an outside third party, only to my client's benefit, of course. I mean, there's some things that you have to tell people that you should tell people that I feel like from an ethical standpoint, you should know. But I mean, there's a lot of things that come up that we can just take care of, that we can keep from getting blown out of proportion. We can, again, I can talk to somebody on the other side so they can go back to their clients and calm them down so that an issue that almost was an issue actually it does not become an issue. But I think, we're really good with our backgrounds of spotting things early, if that's possible. I mean, everybody I work with, I try to have great relationships with them, and especially title company people, because on the real estate side, there are sometimes title issues that come up. There are sometimes questions about who really owns the property. There are questions about who really needs to sign on about certain documents. And so, I mean, I try to train in a good way people that I work with on a regular basis. Don't you ever call my client and tell them there's an issue when you haven't told me first. And I'm really not happy when that happens because the first thing that happens is my client's going to call me and go, so-and-so just called me and told me blah, 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 blah. And then I don't want to be the one to go, huh? What are you talking about? That drives me nuts. Sometimes it happens, especially if I'm working with people that I've never worked with before, because that's who the buyer or seller wanted to use for something. But I hate it because many times, because I've done so many transactions, I know how to fix it. I know what to say. I can jump into it and, at least interpret it better to my clients than perhaps it was just dropped on them by some other person. And then I'm scrambling trying to figure out why it's an issue and why are we having this conversation and what's it really going to fix to, not everybody communicates issues well, I will say, and not that we're perfect at it, but there's obviously a better way to communicate it. Like we have options here as opposed to we have an issue and I'll call you back later. What? So anyway, there's good ways and bad ways. If something's an issue, we're going to have to deal with it. So, it is what it is. And there's so many third parties involved in transactions and, there's a lot going on. Like if people really knew how much stuff goes on and how much stuff we deal with and how many things that we take care of, I think most people would be blown away, to be honest. I mean, there's always the easy transaction that just sailed right on through, but man, there are so many that's just not the case.
Well, these gray hairs didn't make themselves.
So I say that mine comes from the sun because my hair does get much lighter in the summer, but yeah, I've got some of those too. So we don't hide them. We just let them come out.
Wisdom.
Here we are. There you go. It makes us look wiser. Okay. The last question, we're not even going to do bonus questions because we have so much fun with these. Question number 7. This is one that I don't know that anybody ever asked this question, but can you help me make a stronger offer?
Yes, absolutely. So here's the thing. There's different levels of being pre-approved. I got a call from another agent earlier this week where he was like, "Hey, Matt, allegedly these people are pre-approved. I don't know if they know what they're talking about when I talk to their lender. It scares me a good bit. Do you mind taking a second look and just confirming if they're game and confirming that they're good to go here?" So I did. I gave it a second pass, and we'll see what happens with it. They were actually good to go ish, but the thing is, a lot of lenders, especially internet oriented ones, will just, if you tell them you make $1 million a year as a burger flipper at Wendy's, like they'll go with it. And whenever you don't, good luck with the rest of that process. So that's what we call just a general pre-qualification. If I'm taking an application and I'm told that somebody is a burger flipper at Wendy's and that they make $1 million, I'm going to question how many Wendy's they actually own and whether they're truly just a fry chef or a franchise owner. And I don't know if Wendy's even franchises. I don't know. But the thing is that like that's just one thing, is actually validating the information and making an actual pre-approval letter. Beyond that, we also have the capacity and situations that require it to have a pre-approval be completely underwritten by the person that's going to approve the thing at the finish line. May as well have them start to begin with. And we typically, with volume being where it's at in the current market, we don't want to gum up underwriting with a bunch of 800 credit scores that we know are going to qualify. But if there's anything there that we kind of question and we got time to, we got that. The other thing that I'll do is, as long as I know who the listing agent is, Ann Riley's giving me their info or whatever buyer's agent that you happen to wind up working with, I'll call the listing agent and, hey, so-and-so really is like well qualified. I've partially looked at the application. I'd like to think that my reputation means something in the area at this point as far as the quality of pre-approvals. And by the way, they love puppy dogs or whatever nonsense. And then, ask them if they've got any questions. That way they, number one, realize that you're working with somebody local. That goes a long way compared to working with some conglomerate for most situations. I did have a situation the other day where the listing agent told me, Matt, we accepted this offer specifically because of the call that you made up front. That's why we took this offer over the other one that was a competing offer. Is that going to work every time? No. Like if you're $30,000 cheaper than them, I wish my voice was worth 30 grand, but it probably ain't. But if you're, reasonably close to the other offer, that can be the thing too. We also have other product things that we can do here where potentially we could help you write a cash offer. We could look at bridge loan options and stuff. And that's where, when I am doing your initial loan consultation and doing options with you, we'll look at bridge loans and things to see if that's a good fit. It could be something that you don't feel like the juice is worth the squeeze on. Again, you're an adult, do whatever you want to do. I'm just telling you what tools are in the tool belt. So, those are just a few ways that we can help make the offer stand out and make it a little bit tougher to beat by other people. As you're going into the Shark Tank that is a multi-offer situation.
Yeah, or even just to get the seller to take your offer, period, even if they don't have others, but definitely multi-offer situations. True. Yeah. It's just a weird market. So anyway, again, that's why you need people who know that it's a weird market. But yeah. So on the stronger offer question, it set it up to be somewhat loose with what stronger offer means. Obviously there are negotiations that are going on, potentially back and forth with multiple counter offers. I also, personally, which a lot of people don't do if I'm representing a buyer, I like to call the listing agent most of the time ahead of time. And some of them will tell me nothing. Some of them will tell me more things than they ever should have told me. And I change the offer based upon some of the things that some of them have told me, to my client's advantage. And I mean, some things matter to sellers, and if buyers have different options as to what to ask for, what not to ask for, do we play around with the list price? Do we ask for more buyer incentives to be paid by the seller, closing costs and rate buy downs? Do we not ask for any of those things if you don't absolutely need them? What is the closing date looking like? I mean, there's so many ways to beat somebody else's offer if you are in a multi-offer situation, but most agents aren't going to pick up the phone and figure out what those ways are. They're just going to slap on a piece of paper some terms and see what the seller says. There's ways that we work together as a team, which is really important because, again, as Matt's talking to you about options, is it more important to keep money in your pocket? Do you really need to spend that money to make a stronger offer? Are you willing to go over a list price or an appraisal, and do you have the money to make up the difference? Sorry. There's just so many things, that makes a stronger offer, but also the reputation of the agent can matter, just like Matt mentioned. I've seen it happen. The reputation of the loan officer can matter. Their company can matter. I'm in real estate groups. I watch questions all the time. This person that's making an offer on my seller's house, it's this mortgage company. Has anybody ever closed with these people before? Can they actually get something closed? It's kind of like, what was I going to say earlier? Oh, just like everything, there's good lenders and there's not so good lenders, just like there's good builders and there's not so good builders. So, all of that matters. I mean, it matters to you personally. It matters for you getting an offer accepted. It matters whether you should even be buying a certain house. There's just so much stuff that we know and see behind the scenes that, AI is not going to be able to tell you certain things. Your cousin's not going to be able to tell you certain things. Again, what seems logical is not always logical, and it doesn't always get you to the best place. I mean, I watch people, make $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 mistakes on the other side of transactions, and I just shake my head. It's like, ooh, okay. So I'm just saying, not that we're perfect, but we definitely, hopefully, that we care. We're here to help you make the best decision for you. We're here to give you the tools, the resources, and the information. And just like this, we're here to give you questions and things that most people will never think of or encourage you to go and ask and contemplate and put into the mix. Because yes, money always matters. Nobody wants you to super overpay for anything or lose money in a deal. But, the transaction, when I asked earlier, start to finish, part of that was, yes, at closing, we're finished. I technically am no longer your agent. The transaction is done. The finances are set for now. But at the end of the day, there's a lot of things that happen after the transaction that Matt and I want to be here for you. Again, we actually do give life advice if you ask us sometimes. But, above and beyond that, there are referrals that you may need. There's handyman that you may need. There's financing questions afterwards that come up. There's questions about when should I refinance? Should I refinance? Once you get to a certain point of having a certain amount of equity in your house, should you take out a HELOC? Should you do a cash out refi? There's things that will come down the line potentially for a lot of our clients that we can help you with. Again, directly related to real estate, directly related to mortgages, but then also other questions that you may have. We both work with a lot of first-time home buyers and a lot of first-time home sellers that are just now moving into their second property. And no matter how many transactions you've done, stuff just happens and you just need advice. So anyway, I'll wrap it up with that. We're here to help you make smart moves. We're help you here to look at transactions and your life from different angles through different lenses, just to try to help you move in ways in all areas that are smart, that are strategic, and that make sense for what you're trying to accomplish. So again, thanks again for watching the Smart Moves podcast. I'm Ann Riley Caldwell, not your ordinary agent, here with my co-host, Matt Wilson, branch manager, loan officer officer with New American Funding. And check out our other podcasts for other questions that you might have, and we'll see you next time.